All right, let's talk about two of the biggest books ever written about getting rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Think and Grow Rich. Now, both of these books promise a path to wealth, but they start in a place you might not expect. Not your wallet, not your job, but right inside your head. So which one has the better blueprint? Let's dive in and figure it out.
So here's the game plan. We're going to break down their two legendary blueprints. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the actual rules of the game they each lay out. After that, we'll do a little reality check. Are these ideas still relevant or are they kind of outdated? And finally, we'll help you figure out which book is the right first step for you.
You know, this one quote from Napoleon Hill really nails the core idea of both books. It's this powerful thought that getting wealthy isn't just about spreadsheets and paychecks. Nope, it's a direct result of what you think, what you truly believe is possible, and what you want. That's the foundation for everything we're about to talk about.
All right, Section 1. Let's start by unpacking the big ideas, the core philosophies behind these two legendary books. Okay, so this is where you really start to see the difference between them. It all boils down to mindset versus financial literacy. One's about what you believe, the other's about what you know. And here it is, side by side. Kiyosaki, with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is all about the external game. It's practical. Learn the rules of money, learn how it works, and then go out and play the game to win. Hill, on the other hand, is all about the internal game. He says you have to program your mind for success first, and then wealth just follows. It's a fascinating contrast, right?
For Kiyosaki, financial literacy is everything, and it's shockingly simple. He says you just have to know one thing: the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. The whole goal is to just keep buying assets until you don't have to work for money anymore.
Now, Hill's big idea is what he calls success consciousness. Think of it like a thermostat for your brain. He argues that you have to set your internal thermostat to success before you do anything else. You have to want it so badly and believe in it so completely that your subconscious mind has no choice but to figure out how to make it happen.
Okay, so we've got the philosophies, but how do you actually do any of this stuff? Let's move on to the rules of the game, the actual how-to guides from each author.
Kiyosaki's entire philosophy, the whole book, can be boiled down to this one simple, powerful rule. Before you buy anything, just ask yourself, is this going to make me money or cost me money? That new phone, that fancy car, even the house you live in. He forces you to look at everything through that one single lens. It's a game changer.
And that one simple rule is the engine for all his other lessons. When he says the rich don't work for money, he means their assets work for them. When he says mind your own business, he just means focus on building your asset column. It's all about shifting your brain from an employee's mindset to an owner's mindset.
Hill's approach is just as practical, but in a totally different universe. He gives you this famous 6-step formula. And this isn't just, wishing on a star. It's a structured process. You get super specific about what you want, when you want it, and what you'll do to get it. And that last step, reading it out loud every day, that's all about burning that goal deep, deep into your subconscious.
Now, those 6 steps are just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Hill lays out 13 principles in total. Things like having a burning desire, unshakable faith, and relentless persistence. And he also talks about the mastermind, the idea of surrounding yourself with smart, driven people. Honestly, that idea might be more important today than it was back then.
But let's be real here. No book is perfect, right? And both of these have gotten their fair share of heat over the years. So, are they timeless classics? Or are they kind of past their prime? Let's do a little reality check.
First, let's get some perspective. Think and Grow Rich was published in 1937. 1937. That is almost 100 years ago. It was written in a completely different world, with a different economy, different society, and that's super important to remember when we look at its advice.
Okay, let's just get into the criticisms. A big knock on Rich Dad, Poor Dad is that it's more why than how. It gets you fired up, but doesn't give you a step-by-step investment plan. Some also say it makes complex finance seem way too simple. For Think and Grow Rich, the main issues are that it can feel, well, old. The language is dated, and some people feel it puts a little too much emphasis on just believing without a concrete plan for doing.
So with all that on the table, where do we land? We've got two incredibly powerful, but flawed books. So which one should you actually read first? How do you pick the right blueprint for where you are right now?
Well, if you look at the reviews, they both score really, really well. Rich Dad, Poor Dad lands a solid 4 out of 5 stars, mostly because it's so good at totally changing how you see money. Think and Grow Rich just edges it out at 4.5, because its philosophy on success can be applied to pretty much anything in life, not just making money.
So here's the bottom line. You should read Rich Dad, Poor Dad if you feel stuck in that go to school, get a job, work hard cycle. It's the perfect book to completely rewire your brain about money. But you should read Think and Grow Rich if you're looking for the deep psychological operating system for success in any part of your life. One is the mindset of money, the other is the mindset of achievement itself.
At the end of the day, both books agree on one huge thing. Your mindset is the single most valuable asset you will ever own. It's the engine for everything else. So the real question isn't just which book you're going to read, it's which blueprint are you going to use to start building that incredible asset starting today.